In the beginning of Innervisions, we put Innervisions as on the front of the cover. We constantly changed. I believe that this strongly contributes to the fact that there is still a younger audience there that thinks that we are relevant. Doing a DJ set is not rocket science. One can do it. But telling great stories that's not what everyone can do. It can be a ground to find a common space with people that you wouldn't think so. And I think this is what great DJing is about, that people take home certain moments that they don't want to forget and that they want to hold on.
Hi, Steffen. It's
Hello.
great to speak with you. Thank you for being here after a huge weekend. You had your Innervisions 20-year anniversary party at Berghain and at Fabric.
Yes.
How are you feeling today?
It's still a bit blurry, in a good way.
Yeah.
Because it was not just any parties, it was special clubs, special crowds, and long opening hours. So I think in Berlin it was 12 or 13 hours, and in Fabric it turned out to be 26 hours, I think, at the end.
Wow. Were you there the whole time?
No, I wasn't there the whole time, but since this is an Innervisions party, I cannot just show up for my set and leave. So even if I wasn't programmed for 12 hours, I had to also be there, and I wanted to be there. It's not just me following some rule, it's actually me enjoying this weekend, and I wanted to be there also.
So I had been planning to go to the Berghain party, but I was actually dissuaded by just how many people were standing in line. I think the guest list queue was about 2.5 hours long. Mm-hmm. How does it feel for you to know that Innervisions still has such a huge following? Because I think even on like an average Berghain weekend, it's rare to see a line that long.
It feels amazing, of course, and it's also it's a blessing. And I didn't expect it that much. I was hoping for an amazing Friday because it was Friday, a night where Berghain is usually not open, so everything can happen. It's usually in a completely empty club, so everyone that was there came for us, and that was great to see. And a bit overwhelming because, as you said, it was not just full; it was one of the longest lines there. So. Yeah, it made me feel nervous when I started to play. Because also I have a long history with the club also, and I didn't play for a long time. And Panorama Bar, which is inside Berghain, the floor that I would play, is an amazing space. And I also played a great time, meaning late, where people already let loose. But also the expectations are higher. Because it's coming to the end of the night and people have been through 6-7 hours, maybe 3 of them in the line. Yeah. So it's like, okay, they came from all over the world and they wanted it to happen. And it did happen. It was really magical. And I think this both nights, Berghain and also especially Fabric, we planned a lot of shows over the year. Probably between 10 and 15. And these were the 2 shows where we kind of reconnected with clubs that were important for us. Because also in Fabric, I played from early on in my career. And we decided at some point that we cannot just do outdoor events in places all over the world. We also should do something in considerably smaller venues that mean a lot to us. And yeah, I think they will continue mean a lot to us because these 2 nights were really, really special.
One thing I have noticed about your crowd, I mean, I've been following Innervisions for a long time, as long as I've been in dance music, and you still have like a very young audience. And I wonder what you would attribute the label's ongoing relevance to.
I think that in our last 20 years now, still strange to say it, we constantly changed. And it might be on a micro level because we are doing house music for all these years. So we didn't change to be something completely different than it was from the beginning. But within that genre, which is so amazing for me because it is a wide open music genre that integrates things that are happening around the world, we never felt that, I don't know, we found the formula that we wanted to go till to the end of the day. We also never wanted to feel like a museum of conserving any kind of spirit or sound. Especially for me, it was always about absorbing what I feel is in the air, and putting away what I did for 2-3 years. And I believe that this strongly contributes to the fact that there is still a younger audience there that thinks that we are relevant. And but it's also hard to answer.
Of course, yeah.
Because of first of all, we do what we do, and then we see reactions, and it's not mathematic. You cannot do just this and then this happens. But on the other hand, over the years, we in the beginning of Innervisions, we put Innervisions as on the front of the cover. It was Innervisions number 1, 2, 3, whatsoever, and there was an artist that contributed to music. So in a way, we were having a label like it was Strictly Rhythm or other amazing house labels in the past, where we said that it's about the label, it's about the people trusting something, and then we select artists that fit into whatever we want to do. Over time, we slowly but surely took this away. We, as the people that produced the cover, the artwork, and also the whole concept, we decided we put the artist on the forefront and took the label a bit back. Simultaneously, in this industry in general, who knows on what label music is released anyway today? Where do you find it on Spotify? There's a small thing that says it's on, but you cannot even click on it. So the information for the people out there is not there, and it's maybe not even relevant. They love an artist, they love a song, and that's what it is. Because it's so easy to access it, too easy to have it, to stream it, to do whatever you want to do with it, to use it on TikTok in videos. But the label, who cares? So for us, this year was also a step of thinking about, if we want the label to be relevant again, what should we do that the people actually know that this label exists? And one of those ways was to actually do events again, because since artwork is not perceived as something so amazing anymore for people, for the younger generation, it's maybe events that they are really connecting moments with, and with that connecting something to not just the DJ, but then also the label. So that's why we this year made also this decision to put the label on display again and do events to achieve again that people are not just knowing about Dixon or Jimmy Jules or Trick or whoever it is, but also understand that there's a community behind it, there's a structure behind it, there's friendship behind it, and there's some values that we connect with this label.
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that, because you're right. It is so much more individualistic now, the music industry. But I do think of Innervisions as it's like an experience. Like there's a certain kind of music, like very emotional music that you hear when you go to these parties. Like it's very much about creating a vibe and an atmosphere, like the Lost in the Moment parties that you've thrown. So I don't know. I think it's cool that maybe you're bringing that back again, because I can't think of many other places where I would go to a party that's curated like that. Yeah.
I think that it's maybe also connected to the fact that clubs lost their values a bit, or their importance, unfortunately. because they become just places where everyone is throwing parties instead of, every Saturday you go somewhere, there's a certain community, like it is in Berghain still, I would say. There's a certain community there, or maybe generally in Berlin. They kept this vibe a bit that you go to certain clubs on a certain day and you know what to expect without even knowing who is playing.
Mm-hmm.
And now a lot of venues around the world are just structures for parties by different promoters that bring in their own crowd, or so the community around it got lost a bit. And if that is the case, then the events that someone is throwing need to focus much more on things that the club would have delivered before, because the club was not just the DJ, the club was not just the dance floor, it was also the bouncer, it was also the people at the bar. When you put your coat away, how are you treated there?
Mm-hmm.
Are the people actually there to just make money, or are they there because they actually want to hear the DJ, but they're working at the bar, at the bar or somewhere else? So there was a community that supported the structure of nightlife. And but now if you throw an event that is bringing in 3,000 people in, I don't know, Los Angeles, how do you make sure that, and you do this only every 2 months or something, how do you make sure that this structure is also there? Or you're not just hiring a certain sound company that is just doing in their job, a certain security company. So this whole infrastructure is very unpersonal often now. So maybe that's also a reason why just people are not dancing the way anymore. It's not just the music, it's just the whole things that changed around it.
Why do you think that is, that community has changed?
I guess it's because that everything is so fluent. Nothing has time to develop anymore. If there's trends that appear that are crazy big in 4 months, how do you build a community around this? It's nearly impossible. It was nearly impossible already 10 years ago. I think I would have said this exactly the same, that there was clearly changes happening, but it's now imminent. It's not just something that you maybe feel and you're hoping it's not going to go into this direction. No, it's clearly there. And I'm not saying there's not good examples. There are, but this thing that we are in became so big that I would say 80% of that is not a great example.
I want to, zoom out from the label a little bit and just talk about your career. You once said in an interview that it's very hard to tell most DJs apart, and that you yourself don't feel that you're special or different. But I wonder how you reconcile that with the fact that you were, when RA was still doing polls, you were consistently like the number one DJ for many, many years in a row. Just like hugely popular. So do you truly feel like you just kind of caught the right time and the right moment, or maybe is there something that you are too humble to admit that is why you're so popular?
If I am, then I'm not doing it now. But I would, after all this year, I would say that generally doing a DJ set is not rocket science. One can do it. But telling great stories that's not what everyone can do. And I believe that it's coming down to storytelling, that sets can change someone's opinion on the music, because this is kind of what it is about. It's not about changing that person's opinion about me. It's about playing a track that the person maybe thinks is too cheesy, or is too hard, or is too complicated. But in that very moment, it was not. So that person goes home, it's connecting this track with that moment, and then it's on the phone the next day. Well, often with my music not, because a lot of that is not released. But once it's released, it's the person is remembering that, hopefully, that moment. And I think this is what great DJing is about, that people take home certain moments that they don't want to forget and that they want to hold on, and they are connected to music.
You have been making music and DJing for a very long time, I think since you were 16. Have you ever struggled to stay creatively engaged? What keeps you focused on what you've been doing for so long?
I love my job, and I want to continue love my job. And I'm struggling with my job constantly. And let's say it's every 2 years, maybe even every year. There's certain routines that you're going through where, for instance, for some, I could go deeper into it, but for some strange reasons, it's always that in the summer there's no good music released. It's clearly that things are produced in the winter, and then I receive it in spring. So in spring it's always like, wow, so many good stuff is coming out. Then you play it, and then you play it for a while, and you're like realizing, okay, but June, July, this is not really. Or I'm too tired because I'm traveling like crazy in the summer and I don't do research. So it's always at the end of the summer that I'm actually creatively struggling, and I don't really know what I want to do, because I can't listen to the old stuff that is probably not even released yet. But for me, I played it for 20, 25 shows, and I can't even hear it, but I want to entertain myself. So I need to start to dig into something again. I need to start to questioning it. So it always is coming to a time of 2-3 months where I'm like, kind of like struggling. But this is the kick also. This is what there's always this amazing time when you receive great music. And then there's the amazing time when you start to dig for something again, and where you are like, this cannot be it. I need something else.
Yeah. Well, we're at the beginning of November, so I'm guessing maybe you're feeling a little creatively depleted. On that note, my understanding is that you have developed this strategy for maintaining yourself, your mental health, and you take an annual Sabbath. It is called Panchakarma. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
I was doing some research on it, and I see it's part of an Ayurvedic tradition. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
My job is connected to a lot of traveling, a lot of partying, and maybe not the healthiest conditions. And you cannot go on like this forever, so you need to balance it. And Panchakarma is a way of readjusting your senses and your body by following certain routines that are in that treatment that one is doing there. I'm doing this always for 3 weeks, mostly in India. And this allows me to, I said before that there's maybe creative phases where I'm digging deeper into something, but it's also, this is the phase where I'm not doing anything. So I'm on purpose, even if one thinks that if I'm able to calm down and I have time, that then I would start to listening to music and find amazing. It's completely the opposite. I'm on purpose not listening to anything. So as a result of this, I always feel so much better after this, body-wise, mental, senses. I taste the quality of food again. But also, it's always difficult to get back into what I'm doing, not just traveling or not just standing in front of so many people, but also appreciating the simplicity of house music. In the beginning, it's always that I'm getting, checking all the demos from my favorite producers or from other DJs. We have communities where we exchanging music and sending the best bits and pieces. And I'm getting this and I'm like, what? This is it? This is oh, you know. But I trust. And I'm going to the club and I'm listening to certain things in the club again. And I'm like, my body is feeling it now. Now I do understand it again. And I see how the body of people is reacting to it, not just by screaming or filming, but also by just vibing, and you feel a certain awe, and that allows me to get back into the mindset of what I'm doing there is not just art, it's entertainment, and it is full body experience. And in the beginning, it's after my Panchakarma, it's always a bit difficult to get into it back.
When did you start doing that?
15 years ago now.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, out of curiosity, are there other Ayurvedic principles that you bring into your everyday life, or it's really just this practice?
No, there are not that I'm doing in my everyday life. It's just, it's more like when you're doing this, then you follow certain routines then for a while. But realistically, after 3-4 months after this, I kind of fall back into my day-to-day routine, which is not bad. So it's not extreme. I'm misbehaving all the other time, and then I do a Panchakarma, and it makes it better. I think you learn in Panchakarma that your misbehaving should stay on a certain level, and you should always balance things that you do.
I guess in theory, one could stay home and not listen to promos, not use your phone. What is it about actually going to India that kind of facilitates that cleansing process?
I've never done it at home.
Okay.
I always went there, so I cannot judge on this, but I felt that I'm also doing other fasting or something like this, and I always feel it way harder to concentrate on myself when I'm in my surrounding, because my surrounding, the work that I'm doing is it's very hard to distinguish between private and business.
Yeah.
Because the business I can do in 5 minutes after this interview, or on the airplane, or unfortunately when I'm sitting in my flat and I'm maybe watching a movie. So to actually set yourself certain rules is probably the hardest in this, to find the right balance. And that is a key struggle.
The annual reset seems to be a necessary pause to maintain your output. But it seems like recently you haven't really been pausing. Like, you've been doing these huge, ambitious projects, one of which is Moderna. You know, essentially a combination of 3D modeling, AI generative imagery, and a live AV show. It's like an immersive clubbing experience. I don't think I fully understood what it was when I just heard it explained, but so could you maybe paint like a picture of what one of these events might be like?
Yeah, I'm part of Moderna. Moderna is not me, it's a team of people. And the creative director is Anna Ofak. And a lot of the aesthetics come down to her. My part in there is, as it is maybe in Innervisions, or as it is maybe with a lot of people that I work with, that I'm in a music industry, or in the music industry, I'm an executive producer. I think that a lot of the music that is released on Innervisions comes originally from artists, and they ask for advice, or I just give advice, and by that I kind of mold a result that helps a lot of the creative people to achieve a better outcome. And this is also my role in Moderna. There's a team that works there that has amazing ideas, and I shape them or work with them at the very end. So in 2019, when I started in Pasha a residency, me and my partner Anna Ofak, we started to create a concept that involves new technologies, because we felt that it's everywhere around us, but the clubbing industry is trying to protect itself without integrating what is our day-to-day most influential things. So a certain protectionism that I wanted to work against. Simultaneously, we realized that there was a clear trend of the DJ is becoming the hero of the night, the central focus point of the night, the visual attention point of the night. The people were not dancing with themselves anymore. They were focusing completely on the DJ all the time. So we actively integrated technologies not behind the DJ, but around the dance floor. So to distract from the actual music maker or performer. And so the idea was not that visuals support the act that is there, but visuals support the dance floor. And this is what we started to understand and developed over time. I think that, unfortunately, we influenced a lot of people with the first year at Pascha. A lot of the residents from other nights there, a lot of people that came by, misinterpreted that what we have done there should be on stage, behind an act. So our initial drive to do something was inspiring people to, in our opinion, going completely the wrong route, which turned into, as we all know, Instagram shows of dance events. So this was during COVID. And I think it was a very ambitious work back then. We produced it in, I think, 4 to 6 weeks or something, which sounds crazy today. But also this was, I think, a reference point for a lot of other artists that realized that 3D modeling, now AI work, can be used in clubbing in whatever they feel they want to use it. But after a couple of shows and events, we realized that we are much more interested into immersive installations than actually turning a nightclub into an immersive installation.
I see.
And that is why now we don't do events anymore, or maybe very rarely, but we're working on immersive installations that we going to exhibit by the beginning of 2026.
Well, okay. That leads me to, you do touch on some very heavy political and ethical ideas about surveillance and human rights with Transmoderna. And your manager, or the Innervisions manager, mentioned that you were keen to discuss reclaiming the underground as a political space. Why did you want to talk about this? Or why does it feel urgent to you right now?
As mentioned before, I actually don't want to talk about it. But unfortunately, we cannot let the things just go as they go anymore. And I think it's important to stand for certain things that you believe in, if you believe in something, in times where goodbye humanity. In times where things change drastically on a level that we haven't seen, or I haven't seen in my lifetime. And dance music, in my opinion, was always political. There is no way to neglect that it is coming from a Black, queer, Latino background, where it was definitely a need to find a space to express themselves, to find a common ground, a common language, and a position, where that is something that I can state, but I never experienced because I wasn't there. But I myself, I'm coming from East Germany, and I was a teenager when the wall came down, which means I experienced firsthand how it was when East and West came together in Berlin. The wall came down and the dance rave seen occupied spaces and united East and West in a way that politics can't figure out today. So I experience how it can be that that music is not just fun and an add-on after a heavy week. It can be a ground to find a common space with people that you wouldn't think so. And if that needs a voice, then the voice should be used.
I had the Palestinian DJ Sama Abdelhadi on the Exchange a few weeks ago, and she commented that she felt that because so many of her peers in the techno scene stayed silent about the genocide in Gaza, she has really felt that the revolutionary spirit of underground dance music has really disappeared. Is that a sentiment that you agree with?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. If that is stripped off, then what is left is just noise. And yeah, it's great that that is an entertainment industry, but it should not be. It was never like this, and I feel it is not like this. There's parts that are definitely representing the voices that are unheard. But again, our industry became so big that unfortunately the majority of this is reduced to noise, and it should not be.
You're somebody who kind of straddles the underground and the commercial worlds. I mean, again, you play at Ibiza a lot, like super clubs. Do you think that the values that we're talking about, that they can exist in that context as well? And like, have they historically?
It's strange. I mean, there are 2-3 times that I made a statement this year. I got so many messages of people like that were from the industry and were like supporting it silently. And I think that there's a lot to lose for people, but that a lot is basically money, where other people lose life maybe. And again, maybe I think it's not I think an artist should not be political all the time. It's not about lecturing people all the time. But if certain things, if someone feels he or she should address something, then the industry makes it hard. I think that there's change needed.
What would you like to see more of from our industry?
I think that actually one can see a great variety of things, maybe some on a micro level, and it's not really that big exposed, because nowadays, due to social media, you have the feed is giving you the same examples over and over again, and you, if you are not actively connect with different parts of our broader community, so if you're not looking into what is Bill Kuligas von Pan doing, but also what is Mattea from Anima doing, then you will miss out on all the edges that are there. And I think people often choose just to really go into this one direction and just see the artists that they feel they are really connected to. But I, for myself, I also often follow everything. And therefore I see a lot of things that are interesting to me and that are progress, and maybe nostalgia is something that I don't want to see so often.
Yeah. But so many I feel like the world is designed now to feed you the same thing over and over again. So it does take like a willingness and an like extra effort to actually find things beyond your bubble. Yeah. Tell me more about Innervisions moving ahead. I mean, you're still releasing a lot of music. You're continuing this 20-year anniversary. You mentioned to me that you're kind of reconfiguring who's involved with decision making on the label and like as a team. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
As mentioned earlier, I think we always looked into next steps rather than repeating ourselves. And I, for myself, I was lucky enough to meet Jimmy Jules and Bruno Trick over the last 5 to 7 years. And they became people that were not just artists that I worked with as an A&R or as a producer, because I worked with Jules on his album, with Trick on his album, and now with Trick I'm also having a project called Dixon that we are just released our first single. So I worked with them intensely as artists, so I started to know them as realize that they're not just musically talented artists, but they also have a broader vision that I can connect to. And I felt that is for Innervisions time to pass the torch and integrate people in a way that Kristian and Frank from Arm was integrated 20 years ago. Because I started Innervisions, and when I started to work with them, I realized like-minded people that we felt we have a great balance, a great openness to discuss things, and it leads to better results if we balance us. And that's what I'm feeling with Bruno and Jules now. So I think I said earlier that I don't want Innervisions to be a museum that represents older stuff. So I feel this is a step into a direction to even widening the focus and allowing other interesting approaches into the label that maybe I don't see, but I can balance or ping pong with. And we can lead Innervisions into a future that is not just based on the experience from the 90s or the 0 years, or but it's based on here and now. And I think that's what Bruno and Jules are representing. And that's why we are integrating them more in the label now. So we together have more widen decision-making process.
Okay. And then what about for you personally? I mean, you are clearly a very multifaceted artist. I mean, not just as a DJ and a musician, but with Moderna, you have a club wear, like a fashion brand. You're doing a lot. I don't know, what are you hoping to do kind of like in the next chapter?
I think the focus is now for next year for me on so now helping to establish Innervisions as with this 20 years parties. We're going to continue Innervisions parties next year, obviously without the 20 in front of the name. But I feel this is going the right way now. And now my focus will be on the Moderna installations and the Dixon project as a group that I feel is musically super exciting for me at the moment, and also visually. And we have an album probably coming in summer next year. So there's good music next summer coming. Okay. Yeah, this is a lot of fun consuming, time consuming, and this is what I'm mostly looking into at the moment.
Okay. Is there anything you would tell your younger self, or like a piece of advice you wish you had received?
I believe that people are struggling with accepting that they change, and there's a fear of digging into this and embracing it, and that is something that I would have loved to hear earlier. Because I think in the beginning of my career, when I started to have success on some level, it was super micro level, but I was like, okay, I need to build on this. And I later on realized that is exactly what made me unhappy. And only when I unburdened myself from relying on a successful formula, I started to really have fun again in my work.
Last question. You have one last dance. What do you want to listen to?
Oh.
It's the hardest question of the interview.
Oh.
You can take your time.
I really can't answer. It's really like asking me for my favorite movie. I can't.
Top 3 of the weekend.
So let's say of the weekend. So Henrik Cold Cut, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, Henrik Schwarz mix. Then I for some reason played Audion Mouth to Mouth again, and that came out of nothing, but it was one of the moments of the night for me. And Carl Finn, Low Convergence.
Okay. Great answers. Steffen, it's been really great speaking with you. Thank you so much.